leak underneath a home in Newport Beach. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Annabelle Sedano. NBC4's Hetty Chang is live on Marcus Avenue. Hetty, let's talk about that danger the fire chief is concerned about.
Well, Annabelle, to put things in perspective, the fire chief says that when the city came out yesterday to measure the methane level inside that home, that the monitor said 99. And he says in his more than 30-year career, he had never seen that high of a level before. And that's what prompted the city to declare a local emergency. That's what prompted the city to evacuate 7 of the homes here on Marcus Avenue. That's the home right there, that one-story house with the brown roof. Right now, city crews are drilling tubes to try to release the pressure building underneath.
Yeah, it was a fun surprise.
James Whitcomb just arrived at his winter home a few days ago. He says he was told his rental home on Marcus and 36th Street is now one of 7 houses red tagged.
We highly suggest you go. And I know a lot of the neighbors did last night around 8:30 at night that they took off. So
Whitcomb is not leaving despite the serious warning from fire officials who say the oil and gas seeping from an oil well underneath this home is building up pressure.
The methane and the hydrogen sulfide were reaching levels that were highly flammable, so any type of spark or ignition source seemingly would cause it to ignite. And what I was not comfortable with as the fire chief is how much of it is below the surface.
Fire officials say the oil well, which is 800 feet below the home, was capped in 1920. They say back in August, the homeowner reported oil the foundation. The city says it's been monitoring the seepage since the owner moved out late August. And yesterday, the owner called to report hearing hissing sounds.
And we weren't comfortable with what we were seeing.
We were kind of on pins and needles, and we're still kind of waiting to see what's going to happen.
Michael Fleming lives a few doors down.
So we went on Amazon and bought a CO2 meter that also tests for methane. And of course, right now it's reading 0 parts per million. So concern level for us is pretty darn low.
Fire officials say neighbors may catch a smell of methane gas, but they say it's not toxic and not a concern unless you're in an immediate confined space with the gas.
The fire chief says city crews are working fast to try to what they call off-gas that pressure underneath the home here, and they hope to have those 7 people who were evacuated back into their homes as early as tonight. We're live in Newport Beach. Hetty Chang, NBC4 News.
Boy, that's very concerning out there. Hetty, thank you very much for that update. Well, the man accused of causing the Palisades fire is set to face a judge this afternoon in downtown L.A. Prosecutors say Jonathan Rinderknecht ignited a New Year's Day fire. It smoldered for days before it was reignited by powerful winds on the morning of January 7th. Investigative reporter Eric Leonard is in the courtroom. He'll join us live with an update on the NBC4 News at 5. Meantime, 2 people were killed and 1 other was left wounded after a shooting in the Windsor Square neighborhood last night. It happened at a home on Ridgewood Place just off Beverly Boulevard before midnight. The LAPD says a man and a woman were found dead inside that home. Another woman was taken to the hospital with injuries. She's expected to recover and will play a key role in explaining what led up to that shooting. A truck driver accused of causing a deadly crash on the 10 freeway earlier this week is now facing drunk driving charges. The collision killed 3 people and injured 4 others, including the driver. NBC4's Amber Frias is live in Ontario with new details on this investigation and what we're learning about those killed. Amber.
Hey, Annabelle. Investigators say Yashanpreet Singh was driving a semi-truck, allegedly under the influence when he crashed into 7 other cars on the 10 freeway in Ontario on Tuesday. Now, like you mentioned, today the DA's office officially filed charges against him for manslaughter and DUI. Now, according to the California Highway Patrol, they say on Tuesday, when the crash happened, traffic on the westbound lanes of the 10 freeway had slowed down just before the crash. And they failed to stop, triggering a chain reaction. 3 people were killed and 4 others, including Singh, were taken to the hospital. Among those killed were Clarence and Lisa Nelson. Friends, former colleagues, and family members identified Clarence as the former assistant basketball coach at Pomona High School. We spoke with one of his former players who said Coach Nelson was more than a coach. He was a mentor.
In high school, teach kids how to be young men. Him and his head coach, which is Eric Anderson, they to be young men, how to handle certain situations in life, how to ignore distractions. And he always challenged me. Nobody really could outside of my parents and outside of my family.
Dominique, who you just heard from, also described Lisa, Clarence's wife, as a kind and caring woman who served as the team's unofficial team mom. Now, we are still waiting for the other person in the crash who was killed to be identified. As for Singh, the Department of Homeland Security says he is in the country illegally. They say he entered the U.S. through the southern border back in 2022. NBC4 investigates also learned that Singh did not have a commercial license from the state of California. It's unclear if he had one from a different state. Now, Singh is currently in custody with no bail, and he is due in court tomorrow. Reporting live from Ontario, Amber Frias, NBC4 News.
All right, Amber, thank you for that. President Donald Trump has called to deploy federal agents to fight crime in San Francisco. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie announced it this morning after having a conversation with the president last night. Lurie says he reassured the president that he's fighting crime on his own. President Trump posted on Truth Social today saying he told Lurie he thinks he's making a mistake, but he'll give the mayor a chance to, quote, turn it around. Meantime, Governor Gavin Newsom says he's prepared in case the president changes his mind again.
I think this story just ended and it's got a period or an explanation next to it. Come on, you guys are too smart. You know better. But I'm very pleased. I want to applaud the temperance of the mayor. The job he did. Received that phone call from the president.
The announcement comes hours after dozens of federal agents were deployed to Coast Guard Island nearby in Alameda. Agents got into a violent confrontation with protesters there trying to block vehicles from entering the base. Video shows one of the vehicles running over a protester. That man was hurt but appeared to be okay. Those agents were reportedly there for an immigration operation. Well, some students at Santee High School in South LA are speaking out about recent immigration enforcement operations, including the most recent one when a popular TikToker and a U.S. Marshal were shot by federal agents earlier this week. NBC4's Camila Rambaldi joins us live from South LA with more on the message today. Camila.
Hi, Annabelle. One student telling NBC4 that she doesn't feel safe at school following that shooting during an immigration enforcement operation near here on Tuesday. And Santee High School here was placed on lockdown. Let's go ahead and show you some video from earlier when students gathered here at the school. A handful of students were here today staging this small protest at the gates of the campus. Some students told us many students and parents are undocumented here at Santee High School, and they claim that they don't feel safe on campus, especially after the shooting of well-known TikToker Richard L.A. That shooting took place near the high school on Tuesday. Security said shots were fired after the known TikToker Carlitos Ricardo Parias rammed his car into a law enforcement unit as he tried to take off during a targeted operation. Those shots also injured a U.S. Marshal. Acting U.S. Attorney Bill Saley said that Parias is living in the country illegally and that he had avoided arrest by immigration authorities in the past. Saley said that he was the target of an immigration operation on Tuesday. Here's area with her mom.
They just put us on lockdown